says it every year. These kids know less every year. And it's no knock on anybody. I just think that your practice time is so little, you don't have as much, and you feel like you got to run your plays and you get away from the actual fundamentals of the game. So I'm just here, enough of that. I'm just here to share with you guys again what we do, and hopefully you can apply some of it. We start with stance and start. Legs up, stance and start. It's really important. We talk about wearing our stance. We want no tells. We don't want to tell the defense anything. Right? We take a picture of you in your stance, whether you're running the football, whether you're down blocking, whether you're pulling, whether you're passing. We take a picture of every one of them. We want to be able to tell the difference between them. We don't want to give this defense anything. It's tough enough to beat them. We want to make sure that we're not giving them anything. So our stance is so important. We emphasize it all the time. Keep in mind, I know the drill. I've coached 70, 80, 90. I've done the whole thing with my youngest. I've done the high school and the youth at the same time, so I understand what you guys are up against. But at the same point, you can find time within your practice to work on these things. Right? We start every single day with foot drills. Every day. It takes about 15, 20 minutes. We just got done with 4 weeks of camp, and we did them every day except for one. We were trying to get some other stuff done. That's how important we think it is. The drills that I put in place for us is everything we do in the game. We're going to work on drive block, we're going to work on down blocks, we'll work on reach, all right? We'll work on pulling, and when all those things, all those little nuances we do, we work before we even start practice, we hit them up. Just that muscle memory thing, we believe in that. So if I'm right-handed, Lek is right-handed, so we'll do it from a right-handed stance. Our dominant hand is down, our dominant foot is back. And I talk for the perfect world all the time, try and be perfect. And we tell our kids all the time, we're shooting for perfection and we'll land on excellence. We're okay with that. But if we just try and be excellent, we'll only be good. So everything we do, we talk about being perfect. No, it's not going to happen, we realize that, but we're going to shoot for perfection. And we've landed on excellence a few times here lately. So winner stance, again, right hand down. We talk about the hand. You've seen Jimmy want to put his hand all the way on the ground. You want to see him put his thumb on the ground. We want to be on our fingertips, the balls of our fingers. It allows us the ability to get off the ball as fast as we can. All right. Notice his head is up. We always want to see what we hit. We all know that. But I don't overcoach that. The most important thing I want is them to be as comfortable as they can in their stance. All right. As comfortable as they can. You know, the offhand, the right hand, the dominant hand is going to be right off his right eye, right off his dominant eye. The reason we want it off his eye, it keeps our pads parallel to the line of scrimmage. All right? If he puts his hand to his left, across his left eye, it takes him off kilter. It moves his pads a little bit, even if it's a little bit. If his hand's too far to the right, it does the same thing. It opens his pads up a little bit. We want them parallel so we can make sure we can go either way at all times. All right? The other thing is the feet. We have a tendency, when we're younger, they got to get comfortable. They tend to drop that dominant foot a little farther than the other one. We want that relationship to be toe to instep if we can, or that ball of your foot. We don't want to be too far, because if I'm too far back and I have to block down to my left, I block myself out with this hip. I close my hip off to it because my hips are turning this face this way. So it's important that we don't get too turned in our stance. It sounds a little corny, but all this stuff matters to us. Right? We want to have our hips and our shoulder pads parallel line of scrimmage, so it gives us an opportunity to win on a two-way street. All right. So that being said, he's in his stance. First thing we're doing from this point is a 6-inch step, gather step, balance step. You call it whatever you want. All right. We're looking to take a short step so our feet remain underneath our core. We want our feet all the time underneath our body, no matter what. We don't want to take too big a step, take an elongated step. They have a tendency to take a bigger step. We knock ourselves off balance. We don't have that stability with our feet underneath us. So can't emphasize enough how important it is to have our feet underneath us. All right, start over left. All right, take that 6-inch step, then we take the second step. On the second step, we talk about, this is where it's all happening, this is where football's played. All right? We're going to punch his ass. All right? And we emphasize, I know you're not going to tell a 9-year-old to be violent and physical, I get that, all right? I understand it. But we emphasize how tough can we be, how violent can we be off the snap of the football. You know, we know the whole issue about knowing the snap count. You know, we live and die by that. We want to be off on hug, not hug. As soon as we're gone, And we talked about playing to the echo of the whistle. We're not playing to the whistle blows. We're playing to that echo of the whistle stops. That's when we stop. All right? And it's important that we do that. We talk about it all the time. We're going to play to the echo of the whistle. All right? So here we go. Second step, he's going to punch. We're trying to punch to the frame of the body. All right? We're going to punch with our thumbs up and the palms of our hands. We want to strike with the palms of our hands or our thumbs in the sky. The reason we want our thumbs in the sky is it allows us to use all these muscles. It allows us to use the bi, the tris, our chest muscles, and our lats. When we have our thumbs going in, our elbows automatically go out, we get collapsed. We don't have the same strengths we would have if we had our thumbs up, and naturally keeps our hands inside, keeps our elbows tight. We don't have to worry about getting called for holding as much, right, Shaggy? So we want to make sure that we have our thumbs up, punch into the frame, all right? And the frame is just the top of the strike zone, belly button down the sides. We're trying to get as much surface as we can on that defender as we can, all right? Talk again about the perfect world. When I punch him, when I strike him, I like his head going back. If I can get his head going back, now I made a defender, he's got to restart. He's got to start over, especially in the passing game. In the passing game, they pin our ears back and come downhill on us, puts us in a tough pickle, puts us at a disadvantage. If I could punch his ass, make his head go back, stop him, make him recoil, and start over, that's what we're after, all right? So we're going to punt. Here we go. We'll start in our stance. We'll take through some of our footwork. This is the first thing we do. We just do punch. He's going to punch on air. Set. He's just going to punch. He's going to bring his second step with us so we can emphasize bringing the hips. We want to make sure he takes that second step, all right? And we're looking to make sure he's got a low hat. We don't want his high hat. We want him to be down low in the stance. Set. All right. Left foot. We obviously all have to go both ways. We talked a little earlier about being elongated. When a right-handed kid has to go left because it's already up in front of the right one, he has a tendency to take too big of a step. We end up being elongated, as we call it, a little off balance. So we want to really emphasize keeping those feet underneath our core so we don't get elongated. So if you're right-handed going left, just a coaching point that we're always looking for, make sure that they don't get too big of a step. All right? Let's fix the parking lot, get Shaggy on you. All right, so we put them together, we get them in lines, and the first thing we do after we go in there, we're going to step and punch. What I'm looking for here is the obvious. I'm looking at his stance, all right? I'm looking at all the little things. We emphasize all the little things. I know it makes it a little tougher for you with the little kids, I get that, but just keep in mind, we get a little more time with them. We spend the same stuff over and over and over, and if you can find 15 minutes of practice or 10 minutes of practice to go over some of these things, you know, you'll find some results with it. All right. So his toes, did we mention earlier with this group? His toes aren't pointed straight forward. This last group, I can pause from group to group. We want to make sure that our toes are actually slightly pointed outward. We don't want them pointing straight downhill. If I got them pointing straight downhill, I'm putting myself on my toes and the balls of my feet. We actually want to have as much surface on the ground as we can. We actually want to drive with the surface of our feet, not on the balls of our feet. So if I was to push a car right now, I wouldn't get behind it like this and try and push it. I'd be hunkering down, trying to get as much surface in the ground as I can, and that's kind of what we're after here with our drive block. So we want to get as much surface in the ground, and we're going to try and, he's going to just try and punch here to the frame of the body. I'm watching for his hand placement. I'm watching to see if he puts his face in the point of attack, and I'm watching his high hat. Steady. All right. I use the analogy for the little kids. If I was going to a moving truck, I'd take that plank out of it, I'd walk it back, put it on the ground, all right, and that's where we're starting at the bottom of the plank. And we talked about pad level, obviously. We want to try and work that plank as we're going up. We can use that analogy, working up the plank on a block. We should not come up until our third step, or start to come up to our third step, because that first step is that 6-inch jab, and then we're punching on our second step, and now we're going to start digging the kid out, all right? And as we're digging them, all right, we don't want to stand up and push. You get that with all the big, strong kids, right? He's always been used to, we get him as freshmen, the big kids are used to just manhandling people, and their technique isn't as good because they never had to use it, all right? When they get to us, obviously, technique is more important than the other stuff. So we emphasize, all right, from our stance, not coming up till the third step. The other twofold with that is, you know, we run the football a lot. For our play action pass to be effective, when we're talking about their hats, we want low hats. Those linebackers at our level, and you're probably the varsity kids or the 135s and that, they're actually reading the guards to the, through the fullback. So as they're doing that, if we come up right away, they're already in their pass drops. So it's important that we're always coming out with a low hat so we get those linebackers coming and playing their fill lanes. All right? And then we can pull the ball back, and it creates a bigger space between our second level and our third level for our passing game on our play action pass stuff. All right? So again, last time we'll go left foot, step and punch, and again, we're just emphasizing all the little things. Then we put them in what we call a fit. All right? Let's go fit. We put them in a fit. I want the kid to feel what it's like to actually dig somebody out. All right? And there's some techniques involved instead of just trying to drive them. We start right like this. Perfect whirl. As Coach will point out, he's going to get some surface. He's got the nice roll in his back. He's never looked so good. Thumbs up, hands inside. All right? And now he's just going to drive. We don't talk about moving my feet as fast as I can. If I was going to go to that same car and try and drive it, and I'd move my feet as fast as I can, I ain't moving that car anywhere, Jack. It ain't going nowhere. We emphasize driving. You have to drive your feet, not move your feet as fast as you can. You move your feet as fast as you can, you ain't going to get nowhere. All right? Because you're fighting pressure with pressure. That kid's fighting you with pressure, and he's driving, and you're moving your feet as fast as you can, you're going to get pushed backwards. So we emphasize driving. We want to drive the defender. All right? Here we go, like pad level. Now, this is not a race. We're doing this whole thing for our base, making sure that our feet don't come together. As you know, when they start digging people upfield, they bring their feet together because it's natural, it's easier. And as soon as they bring their feet together, what happens? They lose their balance. So when we're doing this drill, we're looking to make sure they have their feet underneath their shoulder pads, and it's not a race where we're just digging them upfield. We just work it. Whistle. And then once I blow my whistle, and they'll go ahead and finish the drill. We finish everything. No matter what we're doing, we emphasize finishing the drill. And that's what we do here. We're just going to let them finish off, drive the kid. Now, it's important, as we're playing, we don't emphasize, let me backtrack. It's not fair for me to ask Jimmy to dig him out every time. We have moving targets, all right? So as we're playing, we emphasize how important it is to engulf the defender, punch his ass, and then maintain my presence running my feet. If I dig a kid off the snap of football, I'm going to drive and run an ISO right here. Now, if we snap the ball, he's on a stunt. Well, it's unfair for me to ask Jimmy to still dig him that way, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So we talk about is now I got to replace my face, and I'm going to pressure, hands on, punch him. Everything's the same. Now I'm just going to dig him vertically. I'm just going to dig him. As I'm digging him, now it's on the back to make the cut. All right? That's what they get paid the big bucks for. I don't want to pick a side of the defender if I don't have to. I like to take him on square, give our running back a two-way street. But that's not always possible. So it's more important that we can punch with our hands, stay attached to the defender, swallow them like a cheeseburger, as we say, and just stay attached and run your feet. All right? Just run to the echo of the whistle. All right? So we do this with movement. What I do is I stand up here, we'll get him going, I'll move in directions, and what we like to do is make sure he stays in the midline. All right? We want him to stay right in the middle of them. I don't want him looking at me. I want his face buried in the point of attack, and see if Shaggy's moving left or right, we want to see that he maintains that same demeanor, that same base, that same hand placement, the same pressure with pressure, still digging, staying attached. That's what we do this for. Here we go. Hit. Whistle. And then we finish the thing off. All right. So we always make sure that we're trying to break down what we do all the time. That we're going to do live, we try and break it down in practice before we actually get into the nuts and bolts of it. Any questions so far, guys?
Well, you're on that drill for that fit drill. Mm-hmm. How far do you want them to just take those steps, those power steps? About 2 to 3 yards?
Yeah, we
about 2 to 3 yards, then you whistle, and then he'll finish it up, correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
I'll let him go about 4 or 5 steps just to maintain that demeanor.
One other question. You never teach the reach block technique because it's unfair to the player, or do you teach that to your players?
We do teach reach block.
You do
backside stuff.
Backside stuff.
Yeah, if we're running stretch or toss to the right, our backside people are reaching and cutting people on the ground.
Can you show that technique?
Yeah, let me do down block and then
okay.
I'll go right to
Okay,
it.
thanks.
All right? How much time? I'm just talking. Lose focus. All right, here we go. We're going to work down block. Down block. Down block's the same exact thing as you guys saw inside. We do a lot of down blocking. All right. If we're blocking down to the right, obviously the ball's coming through here to the left. We talk about perfect world again, digging them on a 45. Everything exactly the same, except we're going to open up our stance. Let's go right on a 45. When we say set HUD, he's going to open up on a 45. And the same things hold true. We're going to try and get as much surface as we can in the defender. But again, we're dealing with a moving target. So when we do this drill, he's trying to get as much surface with him as he can. The same demeanor, not coming up, try blocking him on a 45. As we're going, this kid may try and play him over the top. Again, ball's going here. It's off the snap of the ball, moving target, he plays over the top. Lex can do the same exact thing because he sees with his face where he's hitting, he's got his target in sight. He's going to have to replace his face. And what we talked to before, it's unfair for me to have Jimmy drive him that way if the kid's going this way. We'll just dig him vertically. We'll get what we call vertical leverage. We'll just dig him vertically, and now it's on the back to make the cut. All right? And it's really important that we don't ask somebody to do something that's not realistic. So we're just going to tell him to replace his face and just dig him vertically. Now, if the cat skates away pre-snap and he's on a stunt to the field or whatnot, we'll just throw our face across now because we don't want to feel penetration, and we'll try and dig him down the line of scrimmage. Make sense? Okay. Any questions about that? Reach block. We'll cover the reach block. Face him, Shaggy. Now, if we're running stretch or toss this way, we all run toss. I know how you guys do. We call stretch just a handoff sweep, basically. We're running a perimeter play, all right? What he's going to do is he has to take a shorter step to his, he's going right, he's going to take a shorter step to his right. The reason he can't take a big step is he takes a long step, his chest is behind his knee, and he can't drive off that knee. All right? So we're going to try and not block this dude. We're just going to try and, we don't want him bleeding down the line of scrimmage. We just want to cut him off. We can clip in here, okay? We just want to make sure we're trying to get our face across. So he's going to open up on that with a flat step, all right? Notice his chest is close to over his knee, all right? Now we're going to drive. He's going to launch himself off that right knee and with his inside arm. So we're just going to try and cut that cat off, not block him. So it's short 6-inch step, and I'm literally going to launch myself off with my inside arm to try and cut him off. Doesn't have to be devastating. We're just trying to shield him from bleeding down the line of scrimmage. If we take that first step, and stop, and I'll just snap the ball, he's skating away, we'll dive the back of his legs and cut his ass. All right? It's all legal in there, we can cut. But in the perfect world, we want to try and get inside arm across, okay? Because what happens if you don't tell them inside arm, they're going to do this. They're going to fall with their outside arm because it's natural and try and catch themselves, and we haven't really done it on the ground. Right? So we almost want to dive off the diving board. Again, we can't take a long step because now I can't push up because my chest is in front of my knee. Chest has got to be right here so I can drive off it. All right, fair enough? All right, pulling. Let's talk about pulling. We do a lot of wrapping. I know most of you guys probably do a lot of trapping. We trap too, interior linemen, but this is the only time we'll block somebody on the field without using our hands. We emphasize using our hands. We want to punch with our hands. When we're trapping, Black and 3 technique. When we're trapping, we want to hit with surface. All right? So if we're inside trapping, all right, the defender is on the negative side of the line of scrimmage. He's on the other side of the line of scrimmage. All right? So we always emphasize with trapping, we want to work downhill. We don't run flat down the line of scrimmage because essentially the defender might not be flat down the line of scrimmage. All right? I know in the little kids, when the tackle takes an inside release because we're trapping him, he comes flying up the field because he's not being blocked, makes it easy for us. We just trap him out of the hole. But at our level, as soon as we inside release, this kid's taught to get hands-on and squeeze. So he squeezes the hole right away. And if we ran flat down the line of scrimmage, we'd be in a tough situation. All right? So we emphasize climbing the hole. We want to work on a downhill angle and making sure we're putting ourselves in a situation to win. So if I'm going right, I'm always hitting with right surface. So the reason I'm hitting with right surface, going right, it puts my face to the inside. So if he tries to play me over the top, I'm working my face upfield to the inside, we can still get underneath that bad dog. All right? If he playing me flat, go ahead, Shaggy. If he plays upfield, we're already in a situation to win, because it's easier to backtrack out than it is to get upfield. Make sense? So if we're going left, we're hitting left surface. Going right, right surface. He's going to hit with surface. The biggest challenge you guys get is those kids like to stop on contact. All right? It's really important that we emphasize running through contact. What I used to do with the little guys, I used to get one of them big soft dummies and put it behind the guy we were trapping and try and have Jimmy